What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 36 of the Culture 316 podcast. I'm one of your hosts and producers, Jordan Nahisi.
And I am your co-host, Mo. How's everybody?
Thank y'all so much for tuning in once again. This is our going home show before Wrestlemania 39, live from LA. Just want to give a few pre-show reminders to let you guys know that if you can't make it out to LA, it's all right. We got you. 316 spaces on night 1 and on night 2, hosted by the one and the only Mo. She's going to be holding it down. I was going to say, I know, Mo, you was going to say something about it.
I'm definitely going to be holding it down with me and my bestie. If you guys were in the spaces before, my best friend Zaire is going to be watching, and we're actually going to be celebrating as well our anniversary of our friendship, because we met each other during WrestleMania weekend. So it's going to be lit. I'm expecting me to be drunk and shit-faced. It's going to be a good time, guys. Please pull up. Like, come on. I'm pretty sure you guys are, scrambling for plans. WrestleMania, going to Hollywood, the tickets were expensive, and some people couldn't get hotels and stuff like that, and they want to see their friends. Just come in. Let's just pull out a drink, go roll a blunt or something. Just watch with us, and it'll be like you're at home with a bunch of friends.
Exactly. Think of the celebration of friendship between Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, except there will be no heartbreak. That's what Mo and Zaire are.
Yeah.
So yeah, be sure to pop out on night 1 and night 2 of Mania. Also, our season 4 is going to begin next show. We're going to have our little anniversary episode, and we have a return. And if anyone knows about Culture 316, you're going to be very, very excited, but we're not going to talk about who's coming back. But yes, be sure to tap in for the next episode. But without further ado, we're going to get this show on the road. So first things first, all right? Obviously, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of speculation regarding Jon Moxley's comments about the CM Punk incident on a recent episode of the Sessions with Renee Paquette. You can listen and stream it at your earliest convenience. But Jon Moxley had a lot of things to say. Recently, CM Punk kind of talked about the incident on his what was it? He talked about the incident on Instagram. That's where it was. And I'm gonna find the screenshot right now. Instagram story. He pretty much just kind of talked about the entire shebang. And so here we go. I am pulling up the screenshot right now. Okay, so this is the screenshot. He said, "Sigh. I wasn't cleared to come back yet. Then plan was to wrestle at the pay-per-view. I sat and listened to Moxley's Rocky 3 idea. I explained how I'd never seen a Rocky movie, and I thought the idea sucked. But if the boss wanted to do it, whatever. He said he wouldn't lose to me. I'd never experienced someone refusing to lose to me. I just laughed. I asked Tony asked Tony if this was what he wanted. He said yes. He's the boss, so I said okay, but I'd need to be cleared first. They kept saying it could just be a squash, so I didn't need to be cleared. I scoffed at that. My health is more important. Dave Meltzer is a liar. Jericho is a liar and a stooge. There were plans, but plans always change. But I'll never put a company above my health ever again." So that was kind of like his little screenshot in regards to the incident. Then Jon Moxley appears on his podcast. Essentially, he was just talking about how he had, was essentially bending over backwards to make this work. Talked about how he was a free agent at the time of the feud. Talked about how he could have walked into SummerSlam with the AEW World Championship, which is nuts when you think about it. But I kind of wanted to know your take on this entire situation regarding Jon Moxley's comments, CM Punk's comments, and, where do they go from here?
Well, just for the audience's sake, just paraphrase what Mox was getting at.
Oh, paraphrase what Mox was saying? So
yeah.
He was just saying that, he bent over backwards for this entire situation. You know what I mean? He bent over backwards for this, and essentially, like he also was just talking about how like he doesn't think that this is news. He thinks that, just because something is on the internet doesn't mean that it's news, and that there's so many other cool things that are happening in AEW besides, this debacle. So that was essentially what he was saying.
Okay, yeah. So to respond to that, I'm 110% on Mox's side. I've been saying this since the incident happened during All Out, and I just feel as though a lot of I feel like when it comes to Punk, and I'm not sure if it has to do with like age or maybe him just being bitter in general. I thought he would have like grown out of this, but I just feel as though he's very self-centered, and it's always about him, and he's it's always it's as if he has like a victim complex. And I didn't want to like say that, but I feel like he has a victim complex because I feel as though if things don't go his way, then it's everyone else's fault. And he wants to like play the world's smallest violin. And I really love Mox's response to all this because he's 110% correct. I feel as though when it comes to AEW, the show does have some stuff to offer, although it has its good nights and its bad nights. It's upsetting that for many months now, the show really not that many people are like paying attention to what this show decided to put their purpose in about, and it's supposed to be like focused on the wrestling and the characters, and seeing talents that we always wanted to see win, and be booked properly. And I feel as though no one focuses on that stuff because we're kind of wrapped up in the drama because AEW had that streak of drama going on, and a lot of it being centered around Punk. And the thing that just gets me the most upset about Punk is, like I said, he's a veteran, and he was put to be in a title picture, which means there should be a certain standard. And the way that Daniel Bryan and Mox portray themselves, like they are definitely company men. They are the best representation that you would want for your company as far as leadership goes. Because yeah, his answer was perfect. He basically just moved out of the complete way of the drama and just said, hey, yeah, we're a wrestling company at the end of the day. We should be talking about the wrestling, not like the tea and the drama that's going into it. He just mainly just said, like, yo, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here at this point? We're grown ass men. We have jobs. Why are we not focusing on pushing our product and making our product the most dominant one in the industry? And I love that. I love that so much because that's what we should be focusing on as fans. I'm very much over CM Punk as a concept. I don't care if he comes back. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back, but I don't care if he comes back at this point because he's, to me, not for good business. If he comes back, then yeah, ratings will spike for a little bit because people love controversy. Wrestling fans are pretty sick. Let's be honest. But I don't care to see that man back. I don't want to see him in a title match. If he feels like he's putting his body and his health at risk for this company, then stay over there with your wife. I don't care. Like I'm at a point where I don't care. I just want to like watch a good wrestling show and pay attention to that and have a good takeaway and be able to talk about it amongst you guys or my friends about how amazing of a pay-per-view that was. We shouldn't still be stuck on this situation. So Punk, I feel like he was just being messy that night and he wanted a little attention and he got what he wanted. But Mox just extinguished that shit out real quick. So good on him. What do you think, Jordan?
I was going to say the same thing. I think that it says a lot about a man when he gets the spotlight and he chooses to shine. He chooses to shine it on other people, and I think that that's what Moxley did. He was also in that episode talking about the Bucks, and he was talking about how much he had respect for them, and he talked about Kenny Omega and the match that he had on the latest episode of Dynamite. He talked about Marina Shafir, which I didn't even expect him to talk about Marina Shafir, and it's just like it just goes to show you that he wants the company to do well, that he wants to the company to succeed. He wants the product to be great, and he wants the focus to be on the product and not the drama, as you said earlier. And I think that says a lot about him and his character because he could have easily used the drama and the tea to kind of elevate himself, to kind of elevate whatever agenda he wanted to push. But the fact that he was more adamant about talking about the product and the evolution of the product and how the product is doing really, really good things, I think says a lot about him. And I think that that's really, really good on him. As it pertains to Punk, I kind of am in agreement with you. Like we're in March. April is literally a skip and a hop away. And the fact that we're talking about something that happened in September is just at first it was cute. At first it was cute. Like now it's just exhausting. It's just exhausting and it's annoying. And I want to be able to move past it. And I think that the majority of the wrestling world kind of feels the same way. We don't care about the all out brawl anymore. Whatever happened. It is what it is. We just want good wrestling. And I think that's kind of where everybody is at. That's kind of where I stand on it. So we want to know your opinions on Jon Moxley's comments on the sessions. Once again, it was a great podcast, great episode. I encourage everyone to listen to it in full. But we're going to be moving on. So it looks like WWE also has a new person that will be inducted alongside Rey Mysterio this year for the WWE Hall of Fame. And that woman is Stacy Keibler. That's right. The former WCW women's superstar is being inducted into the Hall of Fame, taking her rightful place. So I wanted to know what your opinion on the induction of Stacy Keibler into the WWE Hall of Fame. What is that? How do you feel about that?
Let me start off by saying I actually do like Stacy Keibler. I was a fan of her as a kid. I loved her look. I thought her entrance was brilliant because it was so simple, and all she had to do was bend over on the top rope, and everyone just popped. Like, that's so iconic. That is so iconic. And she did have some memorable moments. With her taking a lot of bumps and working with the Dudley Boys. That's one thing about her. She wasn't good at wrestling. She knew she wasn't good at wrestling, but she utilized what she knew. And she used her long limbs. And yeah, when it came to bumping, she did take bumps. Except for that one time with Lita when she did a moonsault. And she just lay there like a dead fish. And then Lita was so pissed off that she just stood up from her moonsault. Didn't even collect herself and just cursed her out. That's the one time I saw Miss Stacy not take a bump. Or not stopping my girl. Okay? Other than that, I actually like Stacy as a person and a wrestler. My only thing is that you had all these women that came back and they did returns and they did some work for the WWE. I was expecting someone like Michelle McCool, since she's been part of most of the Royal Rumbles. I was expecting maybe Melina, since she made an appearance last year. Mickie James, although I understand because she's an Impact, maybe they haven't crossed that bridge yet. I would love to have seen people like Jazz. Since we mentioned Michelle, I still think Layla, despite the fact Twitter wants to argue with me, yes, Layla should definitely be inducted. I just thought it was just odd, but at the same time, part of me is just all right, what exactly is the qualifications to be inducted into the Hall of Fame? Because it's so random every single year. It's never off of really anyone's work rate, who was the better wrestler, who was more charismatic. I feel like it's just random. So that's why I'm I don't really agree with it, but at the same time, Tori Wilson was recently inducted, so I'm just okay, all right, yeah, or people like the Bella Twins was inducted, or you have people like Snoop Dogg thrown in there, you have celebrities thrown in there. It's what is exactly the qualifications to be chosen, and what makes you come in sooner or later than the next person? So it's hard for me to say that person does or does not deserve it entirely, but I just personally wouldn't have went with Stacy right away. Down the line, yeah, but I think there's a bunch of girls that are ahead of her. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not mad at it. I'm just oh, okay. I guess is what we're doing. But what do you think?
Honestly, I'm not mad at it. I don't know. Like you said, I don't know the qualifications of what it takes to be a WWE Hall of Famer, how it is decided, when they are supposed to be quote unquote inducted. But if there is a trend that I've noticed is that it's usually in alignment with the city or where WrestleMania is taking place. That's been a common theme.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I remember when Stone Cold Steve Austin was inducted, and I think there was a WrestleMania in Texas. I think it was Dallas or something like that.
Well, Stacy's from Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, once again, it's a theme. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily the same for everybody. So I mean, usually that's a theme, but in all honesty, I don't know what the qualifications are. However, I believe that her induction is well deserved. I think that she has been a part of a lot of, moments. Obviously, she used to manage the Dudleys. She did take some bumps. Obviously, the most notorious one was the sickest RKO that I've ever seen in my entire life back in 04. That bump
that was
alone,
nasty.
that that she took enough bumps for
But the
20 years.
context made it more nasty.
Exactly. Exactly. That was that to me. That was alone. That alone did it
That's a
for me.
crazy way to break up with somebody.
Literally, just and then just. Whoop. But I feel like it's well deserved. She was a part of a lot of moments in WWE history. I think that she deserves the Hall of Fame induction. Um, I don't know if there's anybody off the top of my head that I would have also inducted, besides probably like a Mickey James or a Michelle McCool or a Layla, like you said. But I think it. Obviously there's always more room, and we'll see what happens. I mean, but I do think that the Stacy Keibler induction is very much well deserved. Congratulations to her. And this is a nice little class that we got. It's a nice little ruthless aggression class. So I can't complain about that. But
I have one more question I want to ask. Do you think that they
please.
should just start like inducting more females at a time instead of just doing one?
You know what it is? I think that because the ratio between men and women is so lopsided as it pertains to the amount of men superstars in WWE versus the amount of women, that if you start inducting all the women at once, then as you get further and further down the line, there aren't going to be a lot of women to induct unless there is this heavy influx of women who come into the WWE, have like a really good career, even if it's for like a short amount of time, and then they get put into the Hall of Fame. So I think for now, the pace is good because they're basing it on the proportionality of between men and women superstars. Because you think about it, you have your tag team division, you have your mid card division, you have your heavyweight title picture. WWE just started having a women's tag team title picture, and it didn't even have that much depth. Then you have the women's title that doesn't have much depth either. And if we talk about women superstars before the women's revolution, um, I feel like you can't really name a heavy amount of women that have had a Hall of Fame worthy career. So I think that the way that they're doing it is proportionate, because the way they're doing it is at a pace, because I think that is proportionate to traditionally how many men superstars they've had versus how many women superstars they've had. What about you?
I disagree only because well, it's just that over the years now we have a spike in female talents
Mm,
as opposed to 10, 15, 20 years ago. We had a
very
very
true.
small roster. I mean, you remember playing the video games and they only have like a couple girls at a time, like maybe
Right.
four. Maybe when it got a little bit bigger, like eight, but now we have many different faces,
Yeah.
So I feel like it would make more sense to induct more women at a time now because as the decades go on, and not for nothing, females don't tend to last in wrestling as long. Not so much for like looks reasons, but because a lot of people want to settle down and have kids and be a mom and be committed at home.
Right.
I feel like it would make more sense over time now to put, not saying like give me 5 at a time, but like 2 to 3, I think is reasonable because we still have some old faces from the Attitude Era that could be inducted. We still have faces from the Ruthless Aggression era and the Divas era that are all in conversation, and we haven't even got to them to be inducted. And we have so many years to go, and
Right.
so many more women down the line that are gonna that should be inducted.
Right.
That's how I think about it in ratio.
That's a good perspective. I didn't want to say I didn't think of that, but the approach that you took was really good, and that's something to keep in mind. But I want to ask the people them at home how they feel about more women being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame at a time because of the increase of women superstars in WWE. But we're moving on because it seems like there has been a little bit of a leak. I was able to go on the internet a while ago and saw that there was Fight TV had put out an ad for AEW Plus, which would contain all of AEW's programming, Dark, Dark Elevation, Dynamite, Rampage, and then some. Wanted to know, and it's cost $6.99 a month, and I think that they had taken it down, but wanted to know, would you pay $6.99 a month for AEW Plus on Fight?
Can you just give me a rundown on what you saw that it includes for $6.99?
All right, so I'm going to go to where I saw it, and I'm gonna find it. AEW Plus.
Because not for nothing, WWE for that little $9.99 gimmick, we got a lot. We got a lot. We got all the old matches. We had like some segments, some cartoons going, different types of interviews. Go on.
So it says you would get Dark Elevation, you would get AEW Dynamite live on Wednesdays, you would get Rampage on Fridays, and Battle of the Belts.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Mm.
And it looks like that's it. I assume that it would also be I assume that it will also have like their library. But yeah, it looks like that's it. So I wanted to know, is that something that you would sign up for? Is that something that you would be interested in?
I would, but I feel like since AEW is so creative and like they let people do stuff on YouTube, like you have like the Elite always making like their little stupid gimmick things and segments. I thought they should add that. They should add like some type of programming, just some extras if they're going to do that. But I mean, the baseline for $6.99 that I think makes sense. But I feel like they're creative enough over there that they should have like just again like a side show going on, something just for fun, whether it might be documentaries like how WWE does their 24/7, that'd be cool. Get to know some of your favorite indie wrestlers, although everyone here is a mark, so they know everyone's freaking history.
Right.
That'd be pretty cool. Like it could be like little segments or them just being themselves off camera and away from being wrestlers. Just little tidbits I feel like would be cool if they did that. But honestly, for $6.99 for like all that you just mentioned, I think that's pretty reasonable. Would I get it? I don't know. I mean, listen, I can barely even pay for the pay-per-views. I still like streaming.
Right.
I'm getting dragged for this, but I still stream for my pay-per-views. So I feel like I'm just lying to y'all if I say I'm going to drop that little $6.99, even though I feel like it makes sense.
Right.
But I know someone else out there will pay that little $6.99.
Right.
Yeah.
I do too. So I can't even get mad. So
Go on.
I was gonna say, I think $6.99 is fair, and I think that it would really, really seal the deal if, all the content from AEW's library was to be available as well. Because you think about it, they got a lot of content over the past 3 to 4 years between Rampage and Dynamite and their Battle of the Belt specials and stuff like that. Obviously, Honor Club has become its own thing, so I don't think they have access to the Ring of Honor library. But I think $6.99 is fair. And once again, like I clicked the link, and like it was like, oh, this page is expired or something along those lines. So this may not even be like a reality, but it apparently it's out there. It's been in the universe. It's something that was at one point concrete. But I honestly think that $6.99 is a very, very fair price for all the content that you would get from AEW, especially with Dark and Dark Elevation. Like people be sleeping on Dark because Dark is tough. Dark has great matches. Dark has really, really good matches, and I feel like a lot of people don't take it as seriously as they should because of like the fact that it's on YouTube. But never mind. But I think that $6.99 is a fair price to pay for an AEW Plus subscription. But I do want to know what everybody else feels like. How do you feel about AEW Plus on Fight TV for $6.99 a month? If it's a real thing, if it is, if it's something that you'd be interested in, just let us know in the comments below. But we're going to move on because it's predictions time. So it's WrestleMania weekend. Obviously, we have a bunch of shows. You have Supercard of Honor, but you have, Supercard of Honor. You have Raw, SmackDown, Hall of Fame, NXT, WrestleMania. But we're just going to be doing predictions for 2 shows because we ain't got time for all that. So we're going to start with NXT Stand and Deliver. And when I'm looking at this match, when I'm looking at this card, I'm like, wow, this is a really stacked card. 7 matches. 7 matches. They'll be taking place at the Staples Center or the Crypto.com arena, I should say. And I think it's going to be a good one. We're going to start from the bottom of the of the card. So we got in a 8-person mixed tag team match. We have Chase University, which is Andre Chase, Duke Hudson, Thea Hale, and Tyler Bate versus Schism, Joe Gacy, Jagger Reed, Rip Fowler, and Ava Rain. An added stipulation is that whoever wins this match takes control of Chase University. So if Chase University wins, Chase University stays in control of Chase University. If the Schism win, then the Schism gets control of Chase University. So I wanted to know, who do you believe is going to win this match?
I'll be honest. I've been paying attention to some parts of NXT, so I haven't kept up with Schism. Like, I like Chase University. The last time I saw Schism, I thought they were interesting, and then they became pretty stale to me pretty fast. Has there been any interesting character development with them, and any interesting development with Ava?
Well, there's been some. I've noticed, obviously, like, guys are getting better with their promos and things of that nature. But I feel like part of the big arc in this storyline has been Duke Hudson. Obviously, he was the one who was a very, very serious character, who ended up joining the group and kind of converting into this fun character. He was the one that recommended the match. And that could arguably be something that is a big factor in this, because, you know, he could end up leaving the group. So I think, has there been character development in general? Yes, but in this particular context, it's about Andre Chase. So,
I mean, because I'm going to be biased anyways and go with Chase University. I actually like them. They grew on me over time, and I love his character. I mean, I find like the people in his group annoying as shit, but I really like Andre's character because it's just so unique to me. Yeah. So I'm going to be biased and I'm going to choose them. But I wouldn't be surprised because, you know, The Rock's daughter's in here. So I'm like, why would they give her first L during WrestleMania weekend? So What do you think?
Well, on the flip side, losing does build character. Losing can fuel the fire. And I also feel like, you know, it could lead to something more. But in this particular context, I'm going to have to agree with you. I believe that Chase University was going to win this match. I believe that Andre Chase and Duke Hudson are a very, very fun tandem. So, you know, we'll see what happens with that. But I think that Chase University is going to win. But on to the next match, we have a triple threat tag team match for the NXT Tag Team Championships, where we have Gallus, the champions, versus the Creed brothers, versus the D'Angelo family. So I wanted to know, who did you have in this match?
I like the D'Angelo family. So I'm going to go with them.
I'm going to do the same. I'm going to go with the D'Angelo family. I feel like they're kind of like the odd team out, and Tony D'Angelo has been one of the best developed characters since NXT 2.0 became a thing. And I feel like it's time to put some gold on him. Plus, I feel like Gallus and the Creed brothers, I feel like, can move up to the main roster, but that's just my opinion. But moving on from that, we have and I'm very excited about this. We have a fatal 5-way match for the NXT North American Championship. We have Wesley versus Dragon Lee versus JD McDonough versus Ilya Dragunov versus Axiom. Who do you have in this match?
That's hard.
That is, right?
Because there's 3 names that I like. I like Axiom off of I think he was in War Games, the Survivor freaking thing, and I think I actually didn't mind him then. I always love Wesley. I'm a big fan of Wesley. I like JD McDonovan, to be honest, too. That's hard. This is really hard.
It is.
It's almost, I almost don't want to choose. I don't think Wesley's gonna retain. I could see it going to JD. I'm gonna go with JD. Even though I would like Wesley to retain, I feel like he had it long enough. What do you think?
I think Dragon Lee is gonna win. Dragon Lee has been, and it's interesting, Dragon Lee has been one of the most teased characters since he's signed with NXT. Um, and I think that, obviously it's a fatal 5-way. So I don't think that it's like an elimination style based match. So I don't think that he can eat the pin. But I think another thing is just that him winning this match would elevate him and kind of cement him as one of the top guys in the company, which is what I think that Dragon Lee is. I think Dragon Lee is one of the best in NXT. Plus, Wesley does not have to lose clean in order to lose his title, and there can be some development for him to win it back. But I mean, you're in LA. Dragon Lee obviously has roots there. Ring of Honor crowd is going to love him heavily. Obviously, I believe he's had some matches in PWG. So I feel like Dragon Lee would just be the obvious choice and the obvious winner here. So I'm gonna go with him.
That's fair. That's fair.
The next match is a tag team match for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. We have Fallon Henley versus Kiana James, who are the champions, versus Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. So who do you have in this?
Retain.
Retain?
I think, yeah.
So I, on the contrary, believe that they're going to lose. I believe that Alba Fire and Isla Dawn are going to win. One, because Alba Fire is probably as hot as she's ever been because of her heel turn and her allegiance with Isla Dawn. I also do believe that the conflict in that whole Kiana James Fallon Henley thing is going to boil over, because the storyline is that Kiana James is cheating on the one of the Brooks brothers that she's dating on screen. Obviously, Fallon is like a sister to both of those guys, and Fallon wants to tell the guy that Kiana's cheating, but obviously they're in this tag team. But I feel like this conflict is going to boil over and is going to lead to a conflict between Kiana and Fallon. So I'm going to go with Alba and Isla. So that's my pick for them. Now, moving on to the ladder match. I think it's just a 6-way, or is it a 5? I think it's a 6-way ladder match for the NXT Women's Championship. We have Indy Hartwell versus, I don't even know how to pronounce her name, Lyra Valkyria? I don't know. Versus Tiffany Stratton versus Gigi Dolan versus Zoe Stark versus Roxanne Perez. Who do we have?
That's where this promo from yesterday came from. That was just annoying to look at. Did you see that promo with her and Shawn Michaels where she basically kind of like begged to be
part of the match?
Yeah, it was very controversial, and I didn't really like it. I don't think that's how a champion should be booked. But then some people were saying like, oh, it's part of the storyline that the only reason why she was out because of her injury, so she had to beg.
Yeah.
To be back in it. I'm like, I don't know why, but it just bothered me for her character. I didn't like that. Anyways, to answer your question, I don't see Gigi winning anything. I feel like she's just there for filler. Zoe Stark, I roll. I mean, I like her, but I'm not in love with her. I despite the fact she's MAGA, I actually really enjoy Tiffany Stratton, but I don't perceive her getting the belt. Indy Hartwell has been on a losing streak, right? I've seen her have like a mental breakdown.
Yeah, essentially.
I mean, I could see them giving it to her because I don't personally like Indy Hartwell. I find her to be obnoxious in every sense of the word, but I feel like they love her back there. Like, I feel like they love her for some reason. So I feel like it would make sense that they would give it to her, but I'm also not surprised considering that they put Roxanne in there, that they're going to make her keep the belt. So I'm going to say Roxanne, just off of the way they put that really weird segment, because you could have just left her out. You really could have just left her out.
Right.
But it was cringe and they forced it down our throats, which leads me to think that they want Roxanne. So I'm going to go Roxanne.
That's a good pick. I'm going to go Roxanne as well. Just because since her kind of like fainting in the middle of the ring after that Miko Satomura incident, I think that they're trying to continue to build her as this ultimate underdog. And I feel like having her essentially have her surrender the title because of injury to regain it in a ladder match with 5 other women is only going to do right by her. I also feel like there's other variables in this match. I feel like JC Jane is going to interfere and get in the way of Gigi. I feel like who are the other participants, because there's so much that's happening. So I feel like Indy and Zoe are going to go at it. I feel like Gigi's going to have an interference. I feel like Tiffany Stratton's going to be close, but I think that it's going to be ultimately Roxanne. So I think that there's going to be multiple factors in this match that are actually going to lead to other stories in the women's division. But for the retaining purposes, I got Roxanne. But moving on to the next match, we have Johnny Gargano versus Grayson Waller in an unsanctioned match. Who do you have in this and why?
Did you skip over one?
No, well, I did, but I'm leaving that for last because that's.
Oh, okay. All right. I was just following your lead. All right. Johnny, why are you back on? Why is he? I thought he was on the main roster and he was doing something there. Why is he back down here?
Probably to do a favor to put Grayson over.
He's been doing that for so many years. Why? We don't need him to put over any more people. We need him to get himself over on the main roster. I understand NXT is his home, but this is unnecessary as hell. Like, it probably is going to be a great match. I don't put it past Johnny for that, but it's like, I feel like he can't, that like NXT is his glass ceiling if they keep doing this. Like, let him grow over there. We enjoy Johnny long enough. Just put him over there. That being said, I mean, yeah, it's going to be obvious as Grayson Waller. I feel like if Johnny Gargano wins, like, the internet's going to fucking implode. Mm-hmm. And I personally don't care to see Johnny win. I want him to be used over there. You know, even if he does annoy me sometimes with his same face, he's a great wrestler. And I feel like he could be part of more interesting storylines over there. He probably should have been on the WrestleMania card if they used him properly throughout the year and not stick him in random spots to put other people over. I'm not sure if he's fine with doing that because, like, he's a dad now. But to me, I just find it just odd. Like, I don't know. Does he feel like in his head the best he'll ever be presented is in NXT? So he just keeps giving back, or he's just giving to other people and pulling a Daniel Bryan? I don't know. To me, it's like, why are you setting your own self back? People call you Johnny Wrestling for a fucking reason. Like, shouldn't you want to shoot for being one of the main event guys? Yeah. You know? I don't know. Sorry I'm sidetracking here. It's just that I'm a little bit frustrated with what they're doing with Johnny. So anyways, I'm going to go Grayson Waller. What's your choice?
I actually agree with your point. I'm going to go Grayson Waller as well. I think that this has the potential to... I feel like this is a thing for two reasons. One, because of how Grayson Waller versus Braun Breaker ended, they needed something that was going to keep Grayson Waller in the main event picture while NXT worked on Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes. I feel like if Grayson were to work with anybody else, it almost would have been like he got sent to the back of the line. But Johnny Gargano is easily one of the best superstars in the history of NXT. Plus, because main roster fans are different from NXT fans, even if he were to lose this match, it's not like the people that are fans of the WWE product of the main roster are going to really be mad or frustrated about it. Plus, I think that there are some layers to this match. One, this being Stand and Deliver, which is essentially an NXT takeover, Johnny takeover. Then on top of that, you have the fact that this is an unsanctioned match. And Johnny is known for these unsanctioned matches during WrestleMania weekend. We can go back to New Orleans versus Ciampa. And so you have that layer to it. And so now if he were to lose in this match, you're beating one of the best in the history of the brand at their own game. That automatically solidifies you as a top guy, even without the belt. So I think that there's reasons for it, and I understand those reasons, and I'm not necessarily mad at it because I think that Grayson Waller's too talented to be having a match with anyone else but Johnny Gargano. So, but I am going to go with Grayson Waller on this one. And for the final match, we have Braun Breaker versus Carmelo Hayes for the NXT Championship. Who do you have?
Part of me wants to say that Braun. Wait, no. I might change my answer. I feel like one of them, whoever loses, has to go to the main roster because both parties are more than ready to go to the main roster and could be properly used.
Hmm.
I do see them giving it to Braun Breaker because he is like down there, like the Roman Reigns of NXT, and not in a bad way. It's just that he is that guy.
Yeah.
He's just that guy. Like they have a vision for him, a vision board set up for him. He's supposed to be that guy. Like he's supposed to be established when he comes into the main roster being a problem. So part of me sees it going to Ron off of that and just stacking his resume. And maybe letting him walk onto the main roster with the belt just to show his face and to show who that guy is. But then part of me also thinks they may just give it to Carmelo for that exact reason and then put Braun Breaker on the main roster after WrestleMania without a belt. Either way, I'm thinking ahead and I think I see Braun being on the main roster. So, since Trick Williams is here and he's always bullshitting and helping, I'm going to go ahead and say Carmelo's going to have it. And then Braun goes to the main roster. What do you think?
My personal opinion, I agree with you. I think that Carmelo Hayes is going to win the NXT title. And I think part of the reason is because Braun Breaker was never supposed to be the guy in NXT. This was supposed to help fast track him to the main roster so that he would be prepared for the main roster. Braun Breaker has always been a main roster guy. And if you don't believe it, watch WWE programming and see the fact that this man already has a commercial with AJ Styles. And he's in NXT. He's always supposed to be a main roster guy. And I believe that this match has to happen because Carmelo has always been seen as kind of like he kind of filled in the slot of where Velveteen Dream was, right? This charismatic.
Oh, that's a very interesting comparison.
He was the charismatic guy who can put on a great match, a great performance, and a great promo, regardless of where you put him on the card. And I believe that because of that, he definitely deserves to be the guy in NXT. And because of that, I think that's one of the reasons why he's going to get the belt. You know what I'm saying? So I think that Carmelo Hayes is going to win it. Him having Trick Williams in his corner, once again, going to be the X factor in this match. But I believe that Braun Breaker is about to go up. We've talked about Hunter having surprises for the Raw after Mania, and I believe Braun Breaker will be one of those surprises. So, we'll see, but that's just my prediction for that match. But that concludes our NXT Stand and Deliver matches. We want to know what you guys feel about these, but we're going to be moving on to WrestleMania 39. So a little bit of a fun fact before we jump into these WrestleMania 39 predictions. We looked it up before the show. WrestleMania 35 had 16 matches, including 4 pre-show matches, all that happened during the course of a day. And this WrestleMania 39 has 11 matches that are split between 2 days. So a night and day of a difference. Round of applause to Hunter for making WrestleMania watchable once again. But we're going to start from the bottom of the card and go all the way to the top. I don't even want to call it the bottom of the card because we don't know where these matches are going to fall. Let's start. Dominic Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio. Who do we got?
I think it's pretty obvious that they're trying to give that to Dominic because they're trying to establish his character. I think we all could agree with that, and that they're trying to send Rey off in a wholesome way to the Hall of Fame. So, what do you think?
I agree. I believe that Dominic Mysterio is going to win this match. Fun fact, the last time WrestleMania was in Los Angeles, do you know who Rey had his match against?
Who?
Eddie Guerrero. WrestleMania 21.
Oh,
so I believe that we're going to get some callbacks between the Eddie and Rey match that happened at 21 in this match. I even expect to see some Eddie Guerrero inspired gear by way of Dominic Mysterio, especially since he's been dropping Eddie's name over and over.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I definitely want to. I think it would be sick if that man came out in the lowrider. I think that would be so.
I
tough.
will lose my shit, and so will Sasha.
Oh my god,
Mercedes. Sorry.
Exactly. I think that would be sick. But yeah, I got Dominic. On that one. But now we're going into the men's WrestleMania showcase, which is a 4-way tag team match. Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy versus the Viking Raiders. Who do you have?
I'm always going to choose the Street Profits in every situation, just because I love the Street Profits. Yeah, that's my only reason. I just love the Street Profits. Braun Strowman could kick rocks. The Viking Raiders don't really do it for me anymore. And the Alpha Academy is just so corny. I'm sorry, I can't stand them. I know that's the point to be annoying, but they're just obnoxious to me. But yeah, Street Profits because I feel like they're trying to do something with the two of them, especially Montez, in the future. What do you think?
I believe that the Street Profits are also going to win. I'm also, normally we get on matches where it doesn't look like they have like any meaning, but I think that this is a good little showcase because I feel like there's certain guys, while they may not fit into a championship picture at the time, they are too talented to be left off of the card. And I think this is a good way of including these guys without making it seem like it's just to include them. And especially since on commentary, they've been building up these WrestleMania showcases as something that can change the trajectory of someone's career. And I think that's a great way of positioning it. I got the Street Profits winning this match. Yeah, because it's the Street Profits. Anyway, we're going to be moving on into the women's WrestleMania Tag Team Showcase where we have Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Natalya and Shotzi versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. Who do we have in this four-way women's tag?
Well, definitely not Italian Shotzi. That's out of the question. Liv Morgan and Raquel. Shayna and Ronda. Chelsea Green and Sonya. I don't see Chelsea Green and Sonya doing anything of importance. I don't see Natalya and Shotzi getting anything. Liv Morgan already had. This is for a title?
No. It's just a showcase.
Just for fun. Oh, if it's just for fun, I could see them giving it to Ronda and Shayna. I could see them giving it to Ronda and Shayna. I feel like Triple H likes Ronda.
Yeah.
And Shayna. But I could see a pairing going on over there. But I feel like they're probably gonna give it to them. I can't see any reason to put anyone else over unless you're trying to showcase Chelsea Green. Which I don't see them doing anything serious with her anytime soon. So I'm gonna go with Ronda and Shayna. What do you think?
I second that. I think we're gonna see Ronda and Shayna win, mostly because I feel like they're gonna go after the tag team titles next. So yeah, Ronda and Shayna. I think that's the match. I think that's gonna be the winners. Now we're moving on to the triple threat Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre. Who do we have?
Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre. I'm biased because I always want to say Gunther. And I always feel like when it comes to Sheamus at this point in his career, he's like a filler. So I don't really look at him as being like, not that he's not competition. Like he's a great wrestler, obviously. But I feel like he's a filler at all times at this point. And Drew, I feel like if they give it to Drew, it's just going to go right back to Gunther. I'm going to say Gunther.
I got Gunther as well. I think Gunther is going to come out as the champion. I think that this is, and if they, I think that Gunther is going to be the champion. And I don't think that Gunther is going to drop it unless they officially split the belts into two. It's by split the belts, I mean like the Universal and the Undisputed title.
Interesting.
So there's that. Then we have Edge versus Finn Balor, Demon Finn Balor, in a Hell in a Cell match. Who do you have?
This is, how many more months does Edge have left in his contract?
I have no idea.
I feel like he's on his final year or last few months. I feel like it would only make sense to put Finn Balor over because they obviously are heading in a certain direction with Judgment Day. Mm-hmm. You know, they got Rhea on her own path, doing something with Dominic or whatnot. Damian Priest is doing his own thing. And then what Finn, I feel like it would only make sense if across the board they all won, they all dominate to just fuel their faction as a whole and establish them more than they
Mm.
already have been. And they probably could cut a promo about that next episode. It would make the most sense, and I feel like Edge is in the giving era of his career, especially because I don't see him getting a title belt opportunity at this point. I don't. So, gonna give it to Finn, and I'm expecting it to be a really good match.
Yeah.
This one's gonna be sick, and I'm excited. Getting a Hell in the Cell at WrestleMania. When was the last time we had one?
I don't even remember, but also to throw in, there's no more red cell. It's just the regular color silver cell.
Oh, thank God! Thank you, Hunter. Thank you.
It's just a regular cell.
Who decided that red was a good color for a cell? Like, my eyes already naturally hurt. Okay,
Big blood vents. That's what it said. Big blood vents.
it's just like, why did you think that was easy to see? Like, gray, I understand. Black, I understand. Even if they want to do a navy blue, I would understand. Why a bright color? I could not imagine being a fan watching from like an aerial view, seeing a bright behind red cage, and then trying to see people wearing colorful outfits move around.
To play devil's advocate, I was gonna say, to play devil's advocate, it may have sounded like a good idea, but it just didn't look good on camera. You know what I mean?
They had many years to figure that out.
Yeah, but you know, it is what it is. But I'm gonna go with Finn. I'm gonna go with Finn, as you said. Edge is in the giving mode. I also feel like when it comes to who can gain the most from this, I believe that it is Finn Balor, someone right now who is currently not in the championship picture, who, if he were to get a victory at WrestleMania over a guy like Edge, I think that would do wonders for him. Plus, we haven't seen the Demon in a while, and we have to keep the Demon strong. So I believe that Finn Balor is going to come out on top.
His entrance is going to be sick. Who's going to have a better entrance?
Ooh, Finn is going to have a better entrance.
Are we going to get the Brood character again?
I think we are. I think we're definitely going to get the Brood. I think we're going to get Brood Edge versus Demon Finn. But remember, this is the first time we've seen Demon Finn Balor under Demon Finn Balor as a heel and a part of a faction known as the Judgment Day. So now it's like, is he going to go with red and black? Is he going to go with black and purple? Is it going to be purple, black, and red? You know what I'm saying? So, I, the opportunities are endless. But I am going to go Finn Balor on this one. But next match, we have, I really hope this is on night 2, Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus versus Damage Control. Who do you got?
If Damage Control does not win at this point, what are we doing here? Because they've been on a losing streak.
Right.
And that is not what I support. I understand you want to keep your champion strong, which is fine. They don't have to wrestle. But the people that are going up against, why are you making them look like wimps? And making them consistently lose back-to-back, Hunter. And again, this is like a faction that's still fairly new that has not hit a year. I have a huge problem with that. Because I don't take this faction seriously. They've been so watered down, especially Dakota Kai and Io, and it's really strange because Becky's promo was very spot on. When she dragged them on Monday, talking about how important Io Sky was back in NXT and how important Dakota Kai was over there, and now they're just lackeys behind Bayley. I didn't think about it until she said it. I was like, "Whoa, no!" She was spitting. She was like, for real, like it really was. Like I was like, and I'm not sure if she got cleared to say that. I'm not sure if she was taking a jab at Triple H, but she said that, and I was just like, "Damn!" And on top of that, they're losing. So I just feel like if they don't win, this faction needs to be disbanded immediately. But I don't foresee Becky or Lita holding this belt much longer. It'd be cool if they kept it up, but I think it's just a give back match just to try to establish Damage Control, but also just give it to Bayley because, Bayley's like the biggest mark of all and she gets to wrestle across her heroes. So I feel like the girls are there to have fun. They're probably not looking into it as seriously as I am. So Damage Control has to go over.
I actually agree with you. I think that not only does Damage Control have to go over, but they will go over. I believe that the reason why they've been put on this losing streak is so that they can come out with a different fire at Mania. Because you think about it like this. This is a non-title match, which means that regardless of who loses, no one's going to be the champion again. And regardless of who loses or wins, there's still going to be a challenge for the titles. Even if Damage Control loses, Lita and Becky are going to eventually want new challenges for those titles. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like Damage Control is going to win, and that's going to fuel them to regain the gold back. And I think it's also going to be fuel for Bayley to get some gold as well. So we'll see about that. But I do think that Damage Control is going to go over. They need to go over, and they will go over. So I got Damage Control.
That is hilarious.
I got Damage Control. But speaking of women, we have the Raw Women's Championship, Bianca Belair versus Asuka. Who do we have?
Ooh. Does Binky go down finally? Or do we get the beginning of Kana? This one might stress me out. Because I love Bianca. I love her.
Right.
And she's in her John Cena era. So it's very hard to picture her losing because, like, there's a reason why she has the belt for this long. Mm-hmm. And you had to ask, is this going to be like an extended feud? Because there's not that much substance between the two of them. It really is just put on because I don't think... Have these two had a one-on-one with each other before? I don't... Have they ever?
I believe... Let me see.
Like a real one-on-one?
I'm gonna check. I'm not sure.
I know she was...
They did on an episode of Raw. On an episode of Raw, they had a one-on-one.
Okay. I feel like if Asuka doesn't win, then it kind of takes away from her character. Because a lot of people aren't already taking her character seriously. They think that it's just basically Asuka just with different clothes and paint in her mouth. And I feel like we're going to see like the character in its full form at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it only makes sense if she wins. But the question is, how is Bianca going to win? See, if you're trying to make her look strong and pull a John Cena type shit and the never give up, they could pull what they did in, I can't remember which NXT takeover it was, but I know that it was the first time for Shayna, she passed out. She refused to tap out. If they want to make Bianca Belair still look like a superhero that she is, they could have her in the Asuka lock and have her literally just pass out and no one could complain because it's just like she didn't go out like saying I give up. It was just I gave out.
Right.
You know, you don't get more gays than that, I'm saying. So I'm gonna give it to Asuka. Yeah, and this is gonna end the reign of Bianca, but it could go back and forth. It could be. She could afford to lose in that way and still get a rematch, and they could take this elsewhere.
Right.
But who do you think?
I got Bianca.
Why?
So here's my thing. I believe that Asuka is in a very, very good position, loser win. Because of her performance at Elimination Chamber, it's already been solidified that this is a different version of Asuka, right? So we have that clarified. She's already strong. That's one. Two, I fully believe that this can be the turning point for Asuka in the sense of her fully turning heel. Because she's a tweener right now. She's not necessarily a face. She's not necessarily a heel. She can easily do one of the things where Bianca wins after a hard match and then Asuka attacks after the match and puts her out, and then that leads to a rematch at Backlash where Asuka can win the title. But I believe that the reason why Bianca should win is because it's just because of the building of the WrestleMania resume for Bianca Belair. We talk about Bianca being the John Cena, the women's John Cena. John Cena's WrestleMania resume is deep. first WrestleMania, he beat Big Show for the US title. The second WrestleMania, he beat JBL for the WWE title. The next WrestleMania 22, he beat Triple H for the WWE World title. The next WrestleMania 23, WWE title. He's had to stack his WrestleMania victories so that whenever he would face the person that he really wanted to face down the line, that match would have an extreme amount of value. Bianca and Rhea, when it happens, is going to happen in time because Rhea and Bianca are both stacking their WrestleMania resumes. Because I believe that, and we're going to get to this when it's time, but I believe that Bianca has to continue to build her resume at WrestleMania specifically, and I think that Rhea has to do the same. And in order for Bianca to have that WrestleMania resume, she has to go through Asuka. She has to beat Asuka. So I think that that's what's going to happen. I think that Bianca is going to beat Asuka.
You don't feel like that still pulls away from Asuka because they kind of already diluted her for so many years and they fucked her up at WrestleMania starting with Charlotte, actually. Yeah. And that was like 2017 or 2018. That's just my biggest ick about it. Like, she has never felt that special since. And I still don't think she felt as special even when she was going back and forth with Sasha and Bayley. I mean, they did boost her up a little bit, but she had a mystique about her.
When she came out of NXT, oh my God.
Yes. And it fizzled out when they gave it to Charlotte. When they didn't have to. That streak could have went on for a whole other year. And then that could have been like something that was, cemented Asuka. For the person that were to beat her streak, for it to mean that much more. My frustration is that we still haven't fully recovered from that. I don't think it's a title belt necessarily that's going to recover her. It's more so I want that mystique back, and I feel like that was the whole point of bringing back Kana. So I feel like since people aren't believing in her right now, I feel like if she loses now, then we're just not going to care. I already feel like Asuka, in my eyes, I put her up there with the 4 Horsewomen and stuff like that. I think she's a legend in her own right. But to most casual people that were only exposed to Asuka based off of her main roster run, she is as regular as everyone else. That's why I don't want her to lose. I feel like she needs to win fairly, and it's gonna piss off a lot of people. But I feel like it would just make sense. It's a sacrifice that I think we need to make. I feel like Bianca could afford to lose at this point if she passes out, and maybe down the line get her belt back. But you could still have Rhea versus Bianca at any given time. It's not like we haven't seen it before. You could literally have it again. It would only make Bianca look better, since I feel like we're at a point where I love seeing her win. Don't get me wrong, but like, you expect her to win.
Yeah,
it's nice to see a babyface chase again. It's nice. She could afford to chase back her belt, and it wouldn't hurt Asuka down the line if she pulls something crazy out of her ass, because she's Brock and everything. Like, they could have some type of no DQ match or some stipulation match, for her to win. That's what I think. But we can agree to disagree.
I agree to disagree. Because I have a whole, you know what it is? I think for me, in my perspective, because this version of Asuka is so new, that now it's about giving her the identity that she deserves and rebuilding her in a way to make people care. I don't think the WrestleMania win is going to make people care. I think that her becoming a complete, violent, harsh villain is what's going to make people care. And that's the reason why I think that Bianca's going to lose and then Asuka's going to attack after the match. Because I believe that that's going to make more of a statement of who Asuka is than her winning. Because
if she wins, it like that.
If she wins, right? If she wins, unless she has a very, very... this version of Asuka can't have a dirty win. It has to be a very, very clean win in order to assure her that she's dominant, right? And that's going to weaken Bianca. But if Bianca wins and then Asuka turns, now the respect is out the window. right? Now the respect is out the window. That can lead to another match at Backlash. That can also help solidify Asuka in her new identity even more. Because Asuka was always considered violent. Asuka was always considered hard, but she was never considered bad. She was never considered a villain. And everything about her screams villain, but it's just the fact that she's going up against Bianca and she hasn't really done anything towards Bianca that keeps her as a face. That's
true.
my
What if she jumps her and she cuts her hair a little bit? Not the whole point, so she just cuts her hair a little bit.
Bianca?
Yeah, that'd be
that would be tough.
That would piss off. That would be such good shit if she jumps her after her win, knocks her out, and then like she has that clown smile on her face and she just starts slowly cutting. You remember that? Like, you ever watched Courage the Cowardly Dog, where they had that one creepy guy that was into hair and was shaving Courage or whatnot? Have her have that creepy ass smile, her grin on her face, and just slowly start like snipping. Not all of it, just like a third of it.
But you see how that would solidify her more than a win?
That would be cool. They need to do some sick shit, like something that would really piss us off and have us just like yelling on Twitter and yelling on the internet and stuff like that, and have the crowd booing her out the window. We need an ultimate heel. Maybe that's what we're missing. We're missing an ultimate heel.
And I think Asuka can be that. We're going to move on to the next.
Sorry.
There's 4 former matches. All right. SmackDown Women's Championship, Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. Who do you have?
Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley has to. Like, you owe her. You owe her from, I forgot which WrestleMania, 36, 37 or whatnot. When they robbed her in the Vegeta outfit. Rhea!
Yeah.
You owe her a win! Sorry. Go on.
I agree. I think that Rhea Ripley's going to win. This kind of builds off of what I was saying with Bianca, building that WrestleMania resume. For Rhea, that translates into getting her redemption, getting her lick back. So I think she's going to get her lick back on Charlotte, and she's going to win. So that's that. The next match is Austin Theory versus John Cena, U.S. title. Who do we have?
I know who's going to go over, but I'm still going to say John Cena because I'm a John Cena fan until I die, Changing, until I die.
I'm going to go Austin Theory. I'm going to go Austin. Even though I would like John Cena to win, I think that Austin Theory winning would give him so much heat. And I think that would play into who he is as a heel. So I'm going to go Austin Theory with this one.
They're lucky I'm not in the arena, because I would definitely ran out and jumped him. Like, how dare you jump my father with a ball spot? How dare you? How dare you?
Not father with a ball spot.
My father with a ball spot.
But moving from that, the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. Who do we have?
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I feel like this would be all for nothing if they don't win.
I agree. I'm going to go with that as well. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I think all roads, no pun intended, have led to this. And I think that we're going to see KO and Sami win those WWE Undisputed Tag Team titles. And now, for the main event, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Who do we have? Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
I see you pondering.
I'm only pondering because I just said that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn get the gold. I feel as though in my heart, I want Cody to win. But I feel like to have the bloodline completely lose everything in one night, I don't see Triple H ever booking that.
That's interesting.
I don't see it, because then, like, what do you do? What do you do next Monday? What does Roman and the Usos say? I feel like Roman needs someone to yell at and blame. I know. So someone has to retain on their end, and someone has to lose on their end, and someone needs to get fired.
I got it.
Well, I want to hear your take though.
Cody's gonna win. That's first things first. Cody Rhodes is going to win. Who's the person to blame? Jey Uso.
Oh.
because now nobody has championships. Jay eats the pin during the match. There's so many ways you can go about this. Jay could eat the pin during the match. Jay can try to set up a distraction that doesn't go well. Jay can do something that inadvertently leads to Jimmy getting pinned. Then for the main event, Jay and Jimmy could be coming out. Jay may not do something. And now the person to blame is Jay. And then now that puts Jay against Roman, and they can start building a feud.
So non-title feud.
Non-title feud, exactly. But it's still Roman Reigns. And I feel like the way that Roman is going to lose is going to be in a way that doesn't show him off to be weak, but shows how his family, who is flawed, gets in the way and then messes up the dominance of the group. And I think that Jay is one of the guys that's going to be like heavily blamed and heavily ostracized. And I think that that's going to be the beginning of the end of the bloodline. I think he's going to beef with Jay. Then Jimmy's going to side with Jay. Then Solo's going to sign with the Usos because that's the older brother. And then that's how it's going to go down. But that's just what I think. I think that Cody Rhodes is going to win.
Okay. When you break it down like that, now I want to say Cody. But I just wouldn't be surprised if they give it to Roman, just because, again, it's Hunter booking it.
Very true. But you gotta support our civil rights leader, Cody Luther King Jr.
Of course.
But anywho, that concludes our WrestleMania predictions. Once again, join us in the spaces Saturday, Sunday.
He's gonna be in the show.
Mo, I'm gonna be there for night 2. Night 1, I have some business to take care of. But Mo's gonna be hosting the spaces, so be there for those WrestleMania spaces. But that concludes our show for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I believe this is going to be our last episode of season 3. So next time you see us, it'll be season 4. We got some new branding on the way. It's going to be really, really exciting. But thank y'all so much, and we'll see y'all next week.